HBO's The Last of Us continues to spread propaganda. So this is a video by The Synthetic Man. And in case you don't know, HBO's The Last of Us Season 2 is out. It is premiering. I believe 1 or 2 episodes is now officially released. Maybe just the first episode. But we're all eager to see if they're actually going to change the plot from the notoriously bad The Last of Us 2, the video game, or if they're just going to double down, because Neil Druckmann is still involved. So we're all waiting with bated breath to see how it plays out. But yeah, let's just start this video and
it's
give our
finally
thoughts.
here, the adaptation of the most subversive video game sequel in history, The Last of Us Season 2. I've simultaneously both been dreading this and looking forward to it. Dreading it because I knew it meant I would finally have to finish The Last of Us
Muscle
Part 2,
mommy.
and I did recently on stream. And it was truly as painful as I knew it would be.
Oh, it's
The
bad.
Last of Us 2 is truly a product born of spite, of hatred of the audience, of all of the fans who loved Joel from the first game.
That all
And
comes
I'm not
from
just
Neil
talking about
Druckmann.
him dying near the beginning. There's a lot of elements of that game, especially how Ellie treats Joel in the flashbacks, that makes it clear
Just punch
that
the
Druckmann
synthetic man.
despises all of the people who would dare save their surrogate daughter instead of save what's left of human civilization.
Yeah, this is what drove me fucking crazy. In the mind of the Neil Druckmann, let's just take a deep dive into the mind of the Neil Druckmann. He thinks saving your daughter is lay bad. Killing people who kidnapped your daughter and were going to kill her in a procedure that had a chance to maybe advance towards a cure without your consent is lay good. This is the mind of the Cuckman. They believe that killing your daughter is good because maybe you'll save some people, but they don't understand. That's just not how people think. No parent is going to kill their child for the offshoot that it might save someone in the apocalypse. But in the mind of the leftist Neil Druckmann cuck, he thinks that that's what people genuinely think. They are truly delusional people, and that's what we're dealing with here.
I'm not going to go over that again. I think I covered my opinions pretty thoroughly back when I reviewed the first season. But obviously I sided with Joel, and I really despised how the show
Joel's
removed
based.
a lot of the ambiguity.
Joel
as
did
to
nothing
whether or
wrong.
not a cure would even be made by killing Ellie.
Oh yeah, that was another point I made. That they kind of removed. Yeah, that's a good point. They completely removed the ambiguity because in the video game, you know, like I said, it's hinted that maybe through like logs and journals that you read, that maybe it could help them progress towards a cure. Maybe. But there's no certainty. In fact, it's probably not going to, but they're going to have to kill Ellie regardless. But in the show, you know, they realize, oh, wait, people don't actually want to murder their daughter, so we need to make it more convincing to murder your daughter. It's like, no.
But still, now
No.
we have the aftermath, The Last of Us Part 2. And even though it released 5 years ago now, it still feels like it was yesterday when it was leaked that Joel gets killed in the beginning of the game, and thankfully, the majority of people decided not to buy The Last of Us Part 2.
Good.
Now, of course, there was a lot of misinformation saying that, no, supposedly the game sold extremely well, even though the game sold 4 million copies in its first month, which seems like a lot. But then 2 years later, it had only sold 10 million compared to the first game's 30 million. And no doubt the budget for the second game was much higher. And Naughty Dog even had to cancel.
Let that sink in. 30 million sales from the first game, 10 million from the second game. Second game probably had about double the budget. Let that sink in. That's how fucking bad it was. With all that goodwill from the first game. 1/3 the sales of the first game. That's fucking crazy. That's how much people hate it. God, the leaker must have saved millions of people. They're $60. God bless that leaker.
The multiplayer only expansion / standalone release, which is even more evidence that the game bombed horribly. And they've now had to re-release it twice to try and make up for the losses of The Last of Us 2. And knowing all of this, and
it's
also
Neil
knowing the
Druckmann.
fact that Neil Druckmann is directly working on the TV show as he did with Season 1, I knew that people are going to definitely end up hating Season 2 unless they make drastic changes to the story. And just based on Episode 1, it doesn't really seem like they changed much, except A lot of the out of order flashbacks that appear later in the game are now in the very first episode. Like the famous dance scene, you know, the one where Dina asks if she smells bad. Oh yeah, that line's still in the show 1-to-1. So clearly Druckmann hasn't learned anything. He still thinks it's hot for two lesbians to smell each other's odor, especially when one is hideously ugly. And I might as well address that before we get
Yeah. We all know.
Odor.
We all know. We all know why they chose Bella Ramsey for Ellie. We all know. We all understand why they did it. Why they did it. Why they made her ugly. We all understand this. We know this. It is known.
When one is hideously ugly, and I might as well address that before we get started, because there are a lot of morons, a lot of tourists who watched my season 1 reviews and didn't know that Bella Ramsey was an adult.
Yeah,
Yes,
she's
she
like
was
20.
19 years old when season 1 released, and so obviously she's even older
21,
now.
okay.
And no, I don't give a shit if you think I'm a bad person for calling her ugly. We all know she's ugly. It's incredibly distracting, and it really just takes you out of the show.
Yeah, we all
And
know
to
why
address
they did it.
Another thing that I know is going to come up, as plenty of people told me I'm racist for pointing it out in my season 1 review and my Fallout TV show review. Yes, blackwashing and miscegenation are absolutely woke.
Yeah,
If it's
so they took
show
Joel,
review.
the
Yes,
white protagonist, and they not whitewashed him. They, what's the word? Brown washed, I guess. Mexican washed him with Pedro Pascal, a white passing. These are words from the industry. A white passing actor. So they were able to check their diversity checkbox, and then they changed Sarah from his white daughter to black. So he's Mexican instead of white, and she's black instead of white. That's fucking crazy.
blackwashing and miscegenation are absolutely woke. If it's being shoved into every goddamn TV commercial and movie, despite being a relatively rare phenomenon in real life, you don't think that's propaganda? Can you not think of a single reason why maybe that's being shoved in your face? If you don't understand how that could possibly be part of the message, I don't think you even know what the message is in the first place. But please, continue to listen to these YouTubers who would never lie to you or betray you or try to sell you something. And another thing you need to remember about these people is that apparently watching two middle-aged men have gay sex is not woke as well, apparently. As everyone seems to
Yeah,
love
I'll never forget. I think, was it Critical Drinker? Because I actually like his videos. I've watched a lot of his stuff. And he was like praising this, wasn't he? He was like, oh, it was handled in a really good way. Oh, what a good change of pace. Oh, two gay men having gay sex and then killing themselves for an offshoot episode in the post-apocalypse. This is what people wanted out of The Last of Us. Mind you, this was never in the game. They just had to insert more gay propaganda into the show.
3 of The Last of Us Season 1. So anyway, with that out of the way, I'm pretty sure most people are going to agree with me and hate Season 2 if we're being real, because, well, pretty much everyone hated The Last of Us Part 2, so I can't see how Neil Druckmann is suddenly going to change
If
his
they don't
ways,
change the plot,
especially
everyone's
given
gonna hate
what
it.
we already know about his next game, Intergalactic, is going to be...
Oh yeah, I did a video on this. Basically, if you don't know, Christianity is lay bad, don't you know? According to the Neil Druckmann. So that's the whole theme of the new video game Intergalactic. They're going to be doing like Christianity is lay bad, and you gotta take in the refugees. Go, you gotta take in the good refugees, the Muslim refugees. Goy. That's the propaganda they're going to be pushing.
Addressing religion, and I'm not going to spoil the leak plot of that because I don't want to get a copyright takedown, but let's just say it's an allegory for siding with Muslims and killing Christians.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
to address one final thing before we get to the episode 1 synopsis, because this is something that came up during my Fallout episode 1 review, there's absolutely nothing wrong with reviewing just episode 1 of a TV show and coming to conclusions based on what you see. Now, of course, it's a little bit different with The Last of Us show because I already know what's going to happen since I played the game and I actually watched all the cutscenes 5 years ago. Shout out to everyone who's been watching the channel since the beginning. But even if they do decide to change things in the plot, it doesn't matter. There's nothing wrong with making a judgment based on what you see in episode 1.
Yeah, he's right. I hear this argument a lot, like, oh, you didn't see the end of it, right? And I use this argument sometimes for video games. I'm like, well, I played the whole game, you know? But the thing is, you don't have to play the whole game. You don't have to see the whole show. You don't have to read the whole book. You can make judgments on anything. You can read the cover of a book. People say don't judge a book by its cover. but people do it all the time. When you meet a stranger walking down the street, coming towards you, if it's a 7-foot black guy at night, you might make a judgment that's a little different if it's a 5-foot white girl walking towards you, right? That's just people make instinctive judgments. Like, that's just human nature. You can't change that. So yes, of course it's okay to judge a show after watching one episode. Otherwise, it'd be impossible to say, I don't like this and stop watching it. People would just say, oh, well, you didn't watch every single episode, so how do you know if it's not good? How do you know if you don't like it? It's like, of course you can watch one episode and say it's shit. Of course you can.
In fact,
it's ridiculous
I would
to say
the
otherwise.
First episode of a TV show is arguably the most important. This is the one that draws you in and hooks you. So
Yeah.
when all of those retards, including Hassan, said that I'm not allowed
Hassan
to judge
said that?
a
Of course
TV
he did.
show based on the first episode, I mean, does that sound like something an intelligent person would say? Or is that something a brain-dead normie would say because they don't know how to counter any of my arguments other than just calling me a racist? But anyway, enough preamble. Let's get into episode 1
Well, it's
of
the
The
leftist
Last of Us
tactic,
season
so.
2. So it actually begins with a new scene unique to the show where we get to see the survivors of Joel slaughtering all of the fireflies, and we get to meet the actress who plays Abby. And I'm not going to make a judgment based on her appearance just yet, even though I've already seen pictures
Wait,
of
that's
later
Abby?
episodes, and no, she never looks nearly as jacked.
Wait. Weird. Huh. I thought leftists said that men and women were the same. That women could be just as strong as men, that they can be just as athletic as men, just as that they can compete in the same sports as men equally, that it's sexist to even have different leagues. I've heard all these things. Hey, Neil deGrasse Tyson, a renowned physicist, told me that it's sexist, that the future is actually just to remove male and female sports and just to have men beat the shit out of women in every sport. That's clearly the future, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson. But wait, according to these guys, why didn't they just get a big muscle mommy and cast her in the role? Oh, right. It's because they don't actually exist, because you can't actually get arms like that, especially in the post-apocalypse, without fucking steroids. Crazy. That's
I've already seen pictures of later episodes, and no,
That's
she
so
never
funny.
looks nearly as jacked as Abby, and we all know the reason why. It's because the
God,
actress
look at that. Her arms are bigger than his arms. What the fuck? That's so gross.
wasn't willing to take steroids to get arms as large as Abby's. Sorry, ladies, I don't care how much chicken, broccoli, and rice you eat.
Yeah.
You're never going to get arms like that without anabolics. Morons who have never touched a dumbbell seem to believe that women have just as much muscle building potential as men. It's not even close, guys.
Yeah,
So yes,
it's-
unfortunately, Abby is not the muscle monster that we all know from The Last of Us 2. Which, you know what? If you're not someone who watches any of my streams, maybe you'd think I'd say that's a good thing. But I kind of ironically enjoy how gross Abby looks in the game because it kind of just represents the overall ugliness of The Last of Us 2. The fact that the actress is actually more attractive than Abby kind of just takes away from it. Especially, I think she's the only casting in this show that's more attractive than the game version. And I don't know if that's to subtly make you side with her more, given what comes next after this. But then,
Yeah, maybe they're like, oh, wait, casting a horrible, nasty, steroid-ridden ogre girl, killing everyone's beloved main character, and then trying to make people empathize with her isn't a good idea. So wait, let's just leave everything how it is for the show, but we'll take Abby, and instead of having her be this nasty ogre muscle girl, we'll have her be this cute, petite, like, hot girl. Surely that'll play to the crowd, right? It feels like that's what they did for the show.
and again, a lot of people really like Pedro Pascal, so him dying in most likely episode 2, if I had to predict. Yeah,
Yep.
spoiler, he doesn't die in the first
That
episode.
right there. When this scene happens in the show, all the dads, all the normies who are like, "Oh, I love Joel. I can't wait to see season 2." they're out. Once he's dead, they're like, "What?" They're out. What the fuck? They killed Joel? Now what are we supposed to cheer for?
Pussied out. I don't really think it makes up for it. Now, again, if you don't know my opinion of The Last of Us 2, by the end of the game, I actually sided with Abby over Ellie because Ellie becomes such a fucking bitch
Ellie's a
in the game,
insufferable
and she
bitch.
does the same in the show. We'll get into that
She
later.
hates Joel
She
for
just
saving him.
fucking despises Joel for making the correct decision, save her life
Yep.
instead of sacrifice her for a arguably useless cure. Again, not going to get
Yep.
into the same arguments I made back in season 1, but
That's another thing that in the game, Ellie's going to die 100% from this procedure, and there's a chance that they might be able to progress a little bit towards a cure. That's kind of what you find out by reading like the logs or terminals or whatever it was. is that maybe it will help. And in the show, they're like, oh, wait, people realize that everyone would obviously choose to save your adopted daughter in that situation. When they're like, oh, wait, people are actually not psychopaths and weirdos who would choose to kill their daughter just for a chance to save people in the post-apocalypse. People actually care and would want to save their daughter? Huh, wait, weird. We didn't expect that. So now they're changing and they're like, oh, actually, definitely would have saved the world if you would have killed your daughter for a cure. It's like, no, it's still the same. If you kill your daughter to save for a cure in the post-apocalypse, you're just a monster. Simple as. If you disagree, sorry, you're a fucking monster.
But I still feel the same. Ellie is such a goddamn bitch. You end up hating her by the end of The Last of Us 2, trust me. All this scene does...
Why didn't you kill me, Dad? I wanted to become a cure. I wanted to have a chance to be a cure. Why didn't you murder me, Dad? That's what it feels like Ellie's doing. She's such a bitch. She's so insufferable. So yeah, you know what? Abby should have just killed her. She should have killed Ellie too. Fuck it.
This is establish who these characters are and justify why they end up chasing after Joel. Then there's a 5-year time skip, and we get to see Jackson once again, which is where Joel's brother Tommy has set up a settlement, and the town has clearly expanded quite a bit in 5 years. There's a shit ton of people here, again, just like the game. And you may have forgotten this, but in Season 1, it was established Jackson is a communist utopia.
This is the commune. We're communists.
Of course
so I guess
it is.
Communism really does work. All you need is a post-apocalypse to get it started.
Of course
And
it's
I'll be
communist.
honest, like,
guys, it's not propaganda, guys. Guys, they would totally set up a communist civilization in a post-apocalyptic world, right? No, they fucking wouldn't. They would have the people that work hard get rewarded. It's simple as. But nope, just more propaganda bullshit.
Like the next 30 minutes felt like complete filler. It starts off with Ellie beating the shit out of a dude way bigger than her. It looks so fucking ridiculous, man. But it really sets the tone. It sets that feminism.
That dude could literally just stand up
exactly
and hold his arm out.
Tiny, ugly.
Like she's like a 90-pound goblin. Like an average sized weight, not even a strong dude, just an average dude could literally just stand up with her like dangling on their arm. What's she gonna do? But no, in the show, she's badass and she grapples him. It's like, no, this isn't fucking real. This is retarded.
This shit right from the beginning, so you know exactly what to expect. Tiny, ugly goblin woman beats the shit out of Chad, and it looks awful, man. It doesn't even look convincing the least bit. And we also get to meet Jesse, the Asian cuck character, who only exists to implant his seed within Dina so that our greatest ally can continue to propagate their species. And you might think I'm joking, but no. Fucking Jesse does nothing in The Last of Us Part 2. He even dies like a bitch. Just so that 2 lesbians can raise a half-Asian, half-Jewish child. Not propaganda, though. That's not woke.
Not propaganda,
by
the way.
Show fans. And in the scene right after this, we see Joel interact with Dina, Big Schnauzer's self. Except there's only one problem. This woman's nose is normal size.
They made her way hotter in the show. In the game, she's like she's got a huge fucking nose and this is not Dina. This is clearly not Dina.
This is the worst miscasting since Ellie. And the only thing I really care about from this scene is that we learn that Joel is going to therapy now. Isn't that a great addition to The Last of Us 2?
I was gonna say that's not
in the next scene we see Ellie and Tommy sniping a clicker. I guess this is just to further establish that Ellie is capable and she wants to go out and hunt zombies and shit or whatever. And then in the scene after this, we are reminded that Tommy's wife is black. I actually completely forgot about this. But as you know, race swapping isn't woke, so it's fine. And as you might remember, in season 1, they blackwashed Joel's biological daughter.
I pointed that out
so
earlier.
It looks like both brothers got jungle fever. And we also see Tommy's kid. Interesting. This is not propaganda, though. I'm just a racist. And we also get another, maybe more subtle piece of propaganda here that they need to build the town faster so that they can accept more refugees. And Joel says we need to help our own first, very based.
Yeah,
and this is treated
based
as a
and
bad
correct
thing somehow. Because Joel...
Well, you know why. Because Trump was elected, and the people who wrote the show probably thought he was going to lose. So they were like, oh, actually, the people clearly... This is what I imagine was going on in the Cuckman's brain. Clearly, the minds of the normies, the American citizens, they clearly would prefer to put themselves, their own needs, underneath the needs of immigrants, right? Nope, Trump won. People voted to put the needs of the fucking citizens of themselves above fucking illegal immigrants. You fucking lost. It's over.
Was a refugee. No, he's Tommy's fucking brother. That is not the same thing as letting in, let's just say, strangers from another country who might not share the same
Yeah, just let this sink in. They're in real time. There are countries in real time that are being destroyed due to this mass immigration that they're pushing. So imagine, in the post-apocalypse, if this was your priority, what do you think would happen? You could have like 1 or 2 saboteurs destroy the entire fucking civilization in a post-apocalyptic setting like that. And they're still pushing that, oh, immigration is heckin' good and wholesome, big chungus. It's like, no. God.
Cultural values as those in Jackson. Do you think maybe this is allegory for something going on in the world right now about crimes being committed by dangerous refugees from other countries?
No, don't notice, guys.
I'm just reading into it.
Don't notice.
Well,
and if you do notice, they'll fucking throw you in jail. At least if you're in the UK. UK has completely fallen.
Scene is certainly one of the worst of the episode, where we get to see a humiliation ritual in real time as Joel goes to therapy. And instead of, having a legitimate therapy session where Joel talks about his problems with Ellie, about her ignoring him and just, being bitchy in general, instead, the woman just fucking roasts his ass.
Oh, 19-year-old daughter. She's acting toward me like every 19-year-old daughter has ever acted toward their dad, ever. What is this, our 5th session? Are you just gonna keep grouching on like this every time?
Aren't you supposed to be validating me or something?
And the justification for
fuck?
this is...
What? All right, this is actually like a leftist, feminist, crazy writer who wrote the dialogue for this therapist and is actually just venting out their own frustrations in life. That's what it felt like. That was literally like a surrogate for their disgusting fucking feelings towards men. That's what that just felt like.
Aren't you supposed to be validating me or something?
And the justification for this is that Joel killed her husband, Eugene. Now, for the sake of curiosity, I looked up Eugene, The Last of Us wiki, because I'm like, I don't even know who the hell that is. And in the game, it was just a character who was mentioned who died of natural causes. So I guess this is something they're going to reveal in later episodes. But the point is, the therapist hates his ass and obviously knows that Joel is lying about why he's coming there.
Also, who the fuck would go to therapy in a post-apocalyptic world? I mean, Jesus Christ. Oh, my mental health. Oh, no, there's clickers killing us. Oh, we're struggling to get food. Oh, the shelter's crumbling. Oh, we don't have electricity. Oh, but my heckin' therapy. No, there's a fucking hierarchy of needs, and therapy isn't even fucking touching the bottom in a post-apocalyptic world. Why is there a therapy scene in this show? What the fuck? No, I'm muted, sorry.
That Joel is lying about why he's coming there, and she asks if Joel hurt her. And the next line was so predictable that I actually called it. He says, I saved her. I legitimately fucking shouted at the screen when I called this shit. I'm not even joking. In the next scene, we start setting up the romance between Ellie and Dina, and I don't know, man, this shit's just cringe. I'm not gonna hyper-analyze every single scene. Just know that it felt like filler. And so Ellie, Dina, and some jobbers go out on a recon patrol, and they discover that a grizzly bear has been taken out by a bunch of zombies. Then the no-name morons just let Dina and Ellie go investigate an abandoned supermarket by themselves, where there's 2 clickers inside, so they split up. And we don't even see Dina kill hers, so she's so badass she did it no problem. But we do see Ellie stab her clicker to death, and I don't know, I've got no comment really.
Looks like a comedy scene. Oh, I can't really imagine a worse way to kill a zombie in a post-apocalyptic setting than jumping on its back, grappling it, and stabbing it repeatedly. Like, why wouldn't you just use like a spear and stab it in the head? Like, have 2 people with spears poke them and then just skewer them and then hold them in place, and then one person just bashes them in the head. I don't know, something like that. The worst thing you could possibly do is get in grapple range with the fucking zombie. I know that she's immune and everything, but still, it's just retarded.
Her clicker to death, and I don't know, I've got no comment really. The scene's fine, I suppose. But then, just as they're about to escape, Ellie collapses through the floor, and we get introduced to a new zombie type, a stalker. Honestly, I barely even remember this enemy type from the second game. Ultimately, it didn't really matter because the melee combat was so simplistic. You just press L1 to dodge and then press square to counterattack. And that's all you do over and over again until you kill any of the zombies.
I'm just laughing at the just the sheer spectacle of the muscle mommy just punching fucking zombies. Like, what the fuck is this?
Melee. In fact, the zombies in The Last of Us Part 2 felt like filler about 80% of the time. Ellie gets bit in the process, but thankfully Dina doesn't discover it, and so the duo report back to the Communist Council at Jackson and tell them that the zombies are getting smarter, basically. Then we get a scene where Joel tries to talk to Ellie, basically fails. And then we get the party scene from the E3 trailer, which actually happens in the last 3 hours of the original game. So obviously they're changing around how they tell these flashbacks. Who knows? Maybe they cut them entirely from the show. But yeah, I don't even know what to say here. It's almost 1-to-1 from The Last of Us Part 2. I mean, I literally just played this part like 2 days ago. Like I said, they still do the, oh, do I smell like shit line, which is like the least romantic thing you could possibly fucking say. And look, I don't want to harp on this too much, but are we really expected to believe that a cute girl like Dina is into this disgusting goblin butch lesbian?
They made Dina's actor, whatever, way more attractive, and they made Ellie's way uglier, and they still end up together somehow. I don't know. I don't know if that. I don't know.
Really? This just takes you out of the experience entirely.
Yeah, immersion ruined.
We do have to watch them kiss, as if this whole situation wasn't already repulsive enough. And of course, we still have the old homophobic guy who's like, oh, this is a family event. And then Joel just shoves him on his ass, then Ellie freaks the fuck out. Then they actually subvert your expectations because you think they're going to play the final scene from the original game, but instead Ellie walks to the garage instead of talking to Joel on the porch. Then we get another completely new scene where there's fungus growing in the pipes. So I guess there's going to be a zombie outbreak in Jackson. And then the episode ends with us seeing Abby and her entourage have finally found Jackson and are most likely going to kill Joel next episode. But who knows? Maybe they'll drag it out to episode 3 or even longer. In any case, I expect a severe drop-off in viewership as soon as they kill Pedro Pascal. You know, kind of like all the fucking refunds there were for The Last of Us 2, and for all of us who were smart enough to view the leaks a month beforehand, all the purchases that never happened in the first place.
It's like if the orders went, and this is orders that actually went through, 1/3. It sold 1/3 the amount of copies that Last of Us sold. Last of Us 2 sold 1/3 the amount of copies that Last of Us sold. So going off that, I would expect to see viewership drop to like half or 1/3 after Joel dies. That's my like guess, just based off the pattern from the video games. But we'll see. We'll see. It's gonna be fucking hilarious either way.
And so that's episode 1 of The Last of Us season 2. I mean, if I'm being completely honest and judging it in a vacuum, it was just okay. Certainly not as much of a hook as the beginning of the first game, and by extension, the first episode of Season 1. And yes, I had quite a few problems with that adaptation of the beginning of The Last of Us. The race swapping being a big part of that, obviously. But still, the first, 20 minutes of the first game is one of the most effective video game openings of all time.
Yeah, I remember I watched that. Gosh, I was in college and I watched a Let's Play of it. And I'm not gonna lie, I cried. I cried when Sarah died. Yeah, I did. Not gonna lie, it's good shit. It was really good.
Whereas this episode 1, I mean, what is there even to take away from this? There certainly isn't really any plot hook here, except that Abby is gonna come kill Joel, and I feel like that's something that anybody who's heard about the game already knows is gonna happen. And for all the normies who don't even play video games, who I guess watch season 1 are gonna watch this, well, like I said, I think there's gonna be a huge fucking backlash for all these people living under a rock over the past 5 years. I just can't imagine that people are going to want to sit through the plot of The Last of Us Part 2 in TV show form. I mean,
Yeah,
it
me
is
neither.
truly torture, dude.
There's going to be a
The
huge drop-off in
gameplay was the
viewership.
best part of The Last of Us 2. Now, I don't think it's as good as a lot of fucking people.
Yeah, people always say, oh, I remember Donkey. Donkey was the biggest one because everyone was shitting on The Last of Us 2, and Donkey was putting out videos like, no, guys, I think it's heckin' really good. Look at the gameplay. I don't care about the story. Yeah, I don't see, oh, whoa, like, Donkey was doing this whole weird arc where he was like, oh, guys, I don't notice any of this stuff. The gameplay's freaking good. Last of Us 2 is a great game. Like that was kind of the videos that Donkey was putting out around the time Last of Us 2 came out. I remember this because I still watch Donkey to this day. I have nothing against Donkey. I actually think a lot of his videos are kind of funny. I've kind of outgrown them, but I'm just using this as an example. That was the one thing that people had was, oh, the gameplay's good though. Yeah, the story's trash. Yeah, the characters are trash. Yeah, the plot's trash. Yeah, they killed everyone's favorite character, Joel, and everyone hated it. But hey, the freaking gameplay's good, right, guys? It's just generic third-person shooter. Like, if you really cared about gameplay, play like Doom 2016 or something. I don't know. Play a game that actually has good gameplay if you care about gameplay that much.
People have claimed it's no Metal Gear Solid 5 or whatever stupid ass shit you've seen journalists and shit.
Yeah, that's a better comparison because that's another like third-person game with a bunch of gadgets and weapons and stuff. Yeah.
But the gameplay of The Last of Us 2 is definitely better than the first game, and there are times when it is fun. This is a TV show. There is no gameplay. The story of The Last of Us 2 is fucking misery and suffering, and all for a really terribly told revenge is bad message. Or,
yeah,
you know,
it's
if you
weird
wanna be a little
because
pretentious, you could say it's actually about forgiveness. What is there to fucking
nah,
forgive?
yeah,
Joel did.
it is revenge is lay bad. Revenge is bad. You should never take revenge against your enemies because it's just a perpetual cycle. Blah blah blah. It's like, okay, you could do that, but you can't do that after killing Joel for what he saw as completely justifiable actions. It just does, like, that the connection never, it never is made in the player's head. So it just doesn't work.
Did nothing wrong. Okay?
Yeah, Joel did nothing wrong.
Forgive Joel, you're fucking scum. Ellie kills like 100 people over the course of Last of Us 2, and she
That's a
doesn't
good point.
even get her revenge in the end.
She kills all these people that she doesn't know. She kills a heckin' dog, bro. She kills the pupper. And she kills all these people along the way without a second thought. Just boom. But she finally gets to the one person who actually wronged her. And then she's like, nah, nope. You cannot convince me that Neil Druckmann did not do that just to spite the player. Just to give him like a big middle finger. Just to say, fuck you. You don't even get your revenge now.
One of the least satisfying endings in video game history, on top of all the other problems. But whatever.
One of the least satisfying is a massive understatement. It was bad. It's bad.
I'm getting ahead of myself. Obviously, I'm going to be covering the rest of the season. I don't think I'm going to review every episode because I doubt every episode will be eventful. But if Joel dies next episode, you better believe I'll cover it.
That's the one
So,
I'm going
yeah,
to
I
see.
don't really
That's
have
what
too
I'm
much
waiting
else
for.
to say. We just got to wait and see how the season develops. So that's about it. I'll see you next time, guys.
Oh yeah, this was a good video. Honestly, for the synthetic man, this was actually kind of tame. But yeah, I can't wait until I assume it's going to be the second episode when they kill Joel. That's the video I'm waiting for. I need to see the synthetics man reaction to that video. That's going to be good stuff. Or to that episode, I should say. But yeah. This was the synthetic man. So please subscribe to his channel if you haven't seen him, if you haven't heard of him. He is a chuddy. He's a good man. And yeah, thanks for watching. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Yeah, peace out.